Everyone, we're back here at Cool Clubs with Jack Gilbert, and today we're going to be talking about fairway woods and something more of you at home need to know about hitting fairway woods off of the ground. So Jack, this is something I've seen a lot on the LPGA Tour. I caddy out there, and actually my wife Dana, we went through kind of a long process of changing over her bag, changing over some of the clubs she had, getting more loft in the bag. Something like this.
Some kind of very lofted hybrid.
Yeah, must have a lot of loft on it. It held nicely.
So many of our students at home hitting fairway woods off the ground, especially 3-wood, they're having trouble getting it up in the air, and they're constantly searching for how to hit 3-wood off the fairway. Well, should they be hitting 3-wood off the fairway? That's the question.
One of the big things we see is 3-woods, and it's just terminology, right? Because what is a 3-wood, really? It's in traditional 15 degrees of loft in something about 43 inches long. That terminology has changed over time. We're seeing lots of 4-woods or 3HLs. All that means is there's more loft on that club. It's as simple as that. We are seeing 3-woods deteriorate in every level of the game because high-speed guys, they're hitting it as far as their driver. It's useless. Low-speed players can't get it off the ground. It's useless.
Yep.
So it's finding the right loft for your specific needs as a player. And there's a bunch of advantages to more loft and a fairway wood over other clubs. You've got the center of gravity of the golf club, much further back, much lower with that wood-shaped head compared to a slim iron, for instance. You've got a 335 tip, so a slimmer tip section here kicks the ball higher than a wider tip section in an iron or a hybrid shaft. You've got a longer length shaft, which gives you more speed than an iron. You've got a lighter shaft, which gives you more speed and more flight than an iron.
Yep.
Everything is in your favor to get the ball airborne with a fairway wood over a long iron and even a longer hybrid.
One of the biggest problems I see on the range tee, I see senior players showing up with 3 and 4 irons and 3-woods and wondering why all their clubs go the same length.
Yep.
It's one of the things. I hit all my clubs the same length.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I'm just like, well, there's a speed factor here. Plus the modern golf balls, they don't spin that much, so they're a little more difficult to elevate.
Yep.
That's why we see more lofted fairway metals,
And
hybrids.
they go all the way down. I mean, we see 11 woods out there on the range now.
Yes.
We've got a 9-wood for here to test for you today. We've got lots of others as well, and we picked a ping because they're specifically very good for a couple of other reasons.
Yep.
The
And Henry
shallow.
plays ping.
You play ping anyway?
I play ping.
Perfect. Shallow from crown to sole, which means if your golf ball's here, very easy to get under the center of gravity of the golf ball, launch it and spin it. Lots of loft and an adjustable sleeve. So if you need more loft, we can get it through the sleeve.
Yep.
And if you want a flatter lie angle, watch Milo
Yep.
Line's video on the
flatter
lie
lie,
angle.
the flatter lie angle is nice. That's a nice thing to have with these clubs, especially for players that might be a little bit shorter. When you have that trouble with the ground contact with this long, bulky club, it's almost like you're hitting driver off the deck. If you can't hit driver off the deck, you probably shouldn't be hitting 3-wood off the deck, honestly.
Yep.
Because you're making it difficult on yourself to get that thing airborne. So let's get some loft, let's get some spin, let's get that land angle coming down. Those are things we're going to be touching on in this video and doing kind of an experiment with.
Sure. I think lose the ego as well. There's plenty
Yeah.
of tour players out there now with 7-woods, and if
Yeah.
they can do it and they don't care, then you shouldn't.
You and I, when we go out and play, if we get a downhill lie or a tight lie, I'm not pulling out 3-wood. I'm going to go down to my hybrid, or you might hit your 5-wood, something that's going to get up in the air, and you can carry it pretty close to as far off that lie. It's just you're getting it airborne. That's the difference.
I see lots of high-speed players playing
Yeah.
lofted woods now.
Yeah.
I think Dustin Johnson has like a
Yeah,
9-wood in his
DJ
bag.
played a 9-wood he might still have it, so.
When you're swinging it that fast and you've got low loft, let's say you've got 14.5, 15 degree 3-wood, it catches up with the driver over 300
It's-
yards. Like, what are you using that for?
Yeah.
Give yourself some loft and make it a useful club. Be able to land it on a green from a long way out. That's important.
And on that point, this is why we see a lot of tour pros actually top their 3-woods, believe it or not. You guys aren't alone at home. There's tour pros that get on these tighter lies and they try to hit 3-wood, they top it.
Yeah.
And if they had that 5-wood or a hybrid in that situation, they probably in retrospect would go back and do that if they could.
Absolutely.
So
get the chest on the ball a little more, a shorter
Exactly.
length golf shaft, more loft, way easier.
Exactly. So it's just going to be easier on you. If you're hitting 3-wood off a tee, sure, we know you can probably make good solid contact, get it airborne, no problem there. But off the ground, this is where you want to really start to think, okay, do I really want that hot 3-wood in the bag?
And often the 3-wood doesn't even go as far as the 5-wood, I find. If you're not a high-speed player, you might actually find the 5-wood goes farther than the 3-wood.
When you do a gapping session with our woods, which is kind of something we do in a long game fitting, you'll see them all maybe land at a similar distance, all the way through down to 7-wood in some cases, and the 3-wood may bundle out a bit further, but because it didn't get airborne, it may even land shorter. The 5-wood carries the furthest, maybe goes the longest. 7-wood maybe carries the furthest again, but stops up quicker. So it's like, what's applicable for your game and where you play your golf?
Okay, so let's do a little experiment. 9-wood is the equivalent of what? 5 iron?
5 iron roughly depends on, it's 2 factors at the moment. We've got iron lofts being de-lofted over the years.
Yeah.
And wood lofts kind of, we haven't got this far down yet. So realistically, a 5 iron is the right space.
Right, and obviously you got potentially different lengths and some other things going on. So, but let's do this experiment. I'm going to try to slow my club head speed down and hit this club, let's say 9-wood, 170, 180 in the air, which is probably about average for...
Most people would like that,
Yeah, for a 9-wood. Same with 5 iron. I'm going to try to get in that same ballpark and see where we line up with those launch conditions and the landing conditions.
Absolutely. Most important thing with an iron or anything at this distance, you're trying to hit the green and give yourself an advantage to not be chipping. You want to putt.
Okay, so guys, I'm going to try to get a target carry of about 170 to 180. So I'm going to grip down a little bit. I got to slow down quite a bit. See what we get for some launch conditions.
That'll be a little short.
A little short. Okay. So we can start to see some numbers though, right? So spin 3,600. Normally I spin a 5 iron, probably around a 5,000 spin, I would think.
Yep.
Launch 16, land 35. Okay, let's try another one. I'll try to go a little farther.
It's going to be a little too far.
That one chunked a little bit, but... Okay, so that was a pretty good... Let's keep that one. So spin rate right around 4, launch around 15, land angle 38. So that thing is landing and it's rolling.
Yeah.
That's rolling like a driver almost.
The best thing I can explain about land angle is 45 degrees is the even point of the ball moving forwards and down.
Yeah.
So that's your first chance of being able to stop it. Anything over 45 degrees, you've got a much better chance. Anything under, it's shooting.
Yeah.
So you're 7 degrees under, 45 degrees there.
Okay.
So it's shooting.
It's running.
It's running. So let's try 9-wood. And it's got it in the flat setting, so that should help us out. I'm trying to get that 170, 180 carry number. It's going to be pretty hard, but try to slow it down. This wants to go a little left. Slowed it down pretty good.
Left.
Okay, but that's all right. I hit it left. We know that. It's a longer club.
Yep.
So a little more upright than that 5 iron when I was gripping down, right? But here we go. So spin rate 4,500, and I just chipped that thing.
And you're at 3,900, so 600 RPMs.
We got the launch up almost a full degree.
Yep.
And look at the land angle. That's really important. So we're at 42, whereas before we were 36.
37 or 38?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's at least 4 degrees. I can just flick back to that. Your average with a 5 iron there, 37 degrees.
Can you pull up the peak height?
Yep, so your peak height there is average and it's 65 feet on the 5 iron and 81 feet on the 9-wood.
So obviously some big differences here. And unless you're swinging like as fast as maybe me and Milo, hate to say it, but you really don't need a 4 and 5 iron. You can start putting in some fairway wood, 7-wood, 9-wood, hybrids. My wife plays a 6 hybrid and a 7 hybrid. Her first iron is an 8 iron. You better believe that for players that are maybe swinging a little bit slower, that's going to be good for them to come in high launch, high spin, right?
Your wife is an LPGA Tour player
Mm-hmm.
who has about average male clubhead speed. So it kind of lines up.
So again, put your egos aside. I know it's hard. I get it. We all want to hit that stinger 4 iron and all these fun shots, but let's get that ball up in the air, right?
Yeah, stopping on the green, like we were saying, 170 yards. You're generally not laying up with a 170-yard shot. You're having to go at a green.
Yeah.
Greens are harder to sit the ball on. We need it landing somewhere near 45 degrees to even give it a chance.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good chance of stopping it on the green.
Yeah.
So now we're going to continue experimenting, but we're going to let the shackles off.
I'm going to hit my 5 iron as high as I can.
Okay, let's see.
Let's
High
see.
and
As
high
high
as you can hit it.
As high and as far as I can hit it. Let's see if I can do one.
I want to thank Cool Clubs in Scottsdale, Arizona for hosting us today and allowing us to come in and use their awesome facility. Do yourself a favor and get fit. Check out their website for a list of locations.
That wedge is going to be crispy now.
Ball speed, launch and spin can do to your distance.
The right way.
keep some stuff in.
I chunked it. Let me try one more.
We're going to give you another attempt.
It wasn't too bad though.
Yeah, it wasn't. 196 carry, that's 7 iron.
Okay, let me try one more. There we go. That's high. That should be pretty high.
A little right, but solid.
Yep.
What's our apex height there? 139?
139, 5700, and 54-degree land angle.
And so that's, but we're talking pretty extreme speeds. A 5 iron, 104 miles an hour. There aren't that many people that do that.
And it's a decent cut, and you'll see tour pros do that. They'll hit in cuts with long irons because it's the only way they can get an iron to stick on the green at that yardage.
And now we let him loose with this thing, and
Give me 1 second just to tag you as a 9-wood. All right.
I think your stock shot's going to go higher than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ball speed's a huge jump. Club head speeds. Well, you've got shaft length, shaft
Yeah,
weight in your favor.
it's gonna
there.
go a little longer, no doubt.
It went 179. So
But
it's
that one I
49
hit. Yeah,
feet
that
higher.
that one I didn't like crush. I hit it, if anything, a little lower on the face, so I got a little more spin. But look at the jumps. We got spin rate went way up, land angle way up.
That ball's not rolling.
What do
forward.
we have? The height
40 feet higher.
40 feet.
Yeah.
It's coming out of the stratosphere.
Yeah.
So-
landing at 60 degrees. It's you
Yeah.
might even get that one coming back a little bit.
Yeah, that one on the soft green
Yeah.
pitches and backs up.
That one's really high. Kind of hit it a little outright, but that one's really high.
7,000 RPMs.
There you go.
190 feet.
That's the front right pin par 3 shot right
Yeah,
there.
61-degree land angle. It would be the hardest work ever to do that with an iron.
I don't think that's possible.
I'm not
Unless the
sure.
ball's
I'm
out.
not sure that's possible. Yeah.
But for players like me and Milo, there's a point of limiting return, right? Because we can't really flight this club. You got into the wind. Do I really want to hit that one into a 20-mile-an-hour headwind?
Yep.
It's going to be tricky. So,
A 9-wood might not be for everyone,
no.
Right.
but I would say it's for most people.
Most people should have a 9-wood, a 7-wood. Really, the longest iron you really need is probably a 6-iron. And, even some
Maybe
probably
even a
7-iron.
7-iron.
Yep. Yeah, we do it a lot more nowadays than ever before, and the technology's there. If you're struggling with a wood, it's probably because of your angle of attack or your path. And try a hybrid first of all. Try and
Yep.
replace that with a hybrid. And if you still struggle, then yeah, play an iron. But that's a very, very rare case.
Okay, so one last point here, Jack, is what's going to be easier to hit? You see this one, you got a bigger head, you can get that leading edge down on the ball. So this thing is just ready, it's spring loaded, ready to just send it up into the stratosphere, right?
You got to think of where the center of gravity is here. It's way, way back here,
Yeah.
right underneath, behind the golf ball. It's launching it high. And you touched on a point that not many people can see. Maybe this camera angle can, is how far ahead of the shaft that leading edge is.
Right.
So that's already under the ball before you've got your club there. It's nowhere near.
Yeah.
You've got the hosel there before. So the actual leading edge of the club is later under the ball with an iron than it is with a wood. Therefore, it's not going to go as high.
So if you guys are on tight fairways or, the lie's not perfect, unless it's teed up, look at getting a 9-wood or a 7-wood, add that to your bag, at least a 5-wood. Start there. You don't always need to try and hit the hero shot with that 3-wood
No.
to try to get it up on a par 5 and 2. Because chances are it's probably going to be this low burner, or you'll top it. And we've all been there. It's no fun.
And that's a good point, actually, is consistency. Because everyone has that shot where you get the 3-wood good.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's magic.
Yeah.
It goes miles.
Beautiful. It's like this burner.
But it's 1 in 15 shots. Whereas with
Yeah.
a 5-wood, you might get 7 or 8 out of those shots,
Right.
and you're a much, much better chance of shooting a good score that day.
Okay, so do yourself a favor. Go get fit for some clubs and really focus on your bag setup and gapping and how we can get some more optimal launch and landing conditions so you guys can play your best golf, play on those firmer greens and get the ball to stop versus hitting these burning shots all day long. It's no fun. You're not going to be able to hold greens, just like you talked about. The best players in the world are adding loft to their bags. You should too. So Jack, thanks again.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it. Cool Clubs. Come get fit, Cool Clubs. See you guys.